Hello, how are you doing? Well, this is Edith, and just wanted to make a video and recommend this video that was done by a Rainer Fühlmich, which is a German guy who has done a lot of, he is in charge of I don't even want to say what it is, but he has done a lot of interviews with experts in the past 3 years to investigate into what happened in the past 3 years. And so he has done an interview. This interview is with a Romanian politician who worked for the UN for 18 years and kind of found out the true purpose and goals of the UN. Couldn't agree with it anymore, and so he left, and he is, would you say, he's a whistleblower right now. And it's just telling us about the plans, the true plans of the UN. And I really wanted to share this information with you. It is actually has German subtitles, but the interview is conducted in English, so you should understand it. Writing is in German, and I think the title is also in German. Actually, too, it says Enslaving Entlarvung der Vereinten Nationen, Unmasking of the United Nations, and that's what the English title is, Unmasking of the United Nations. So I think it's a very good information that we should be having, because, so many people are still tapping around in the dark about, this Antichrist that is supposed to be coming, and, this new world order that is supposed to be coming. No, people, I have told you there's not going to be a new world order, but maybe a modernized old order. I've just recently done a video about Davos, and they were using the new global system. And okay, yes, they are modernizing the system, but the system is an old system that we should all understand, so we don't get confused and wait for something new to come. The old that has been established 1700 years ago and is still around. What has been organized 1700 years ago, since the time Satan was kicked out of this universe. Out of heaven. He was kicked out of heaven, and then he had to create a new system here on earth. He had to really make this his home. He didn't now just go back and forth from the earth, and create a little havoc here now and then go back and complain to God how terrible human beings are. But now God said, no, this is the end. Jesus defeated Satan on the cross as well. And so he was kicked out of heaven. There was no more place found for him. That's in Revelation 12. And so then he had to come down to this earth to make himself a new home. And he has worked on this new home for 1700 years. And this is how we got the beast out of the sea. The beast with the 10 horns and I don't know how many heads. Okay, this is just symbolic. What is going on, what's been going on in the world for the past 1700 years? Who was ruling the world for at least 1500 years? Okay, 1500 years. Who? Or until 1500. Who was that? That was papacy, people. Okay, papacy was ruling this world, and if you ignoring that, Okay? How in the world can you find out the rest of the information? And what is the goal of Satan? Why is he using papacy to rule? Well, because that's how he gets his plans through. What is his plan? If you look at the Roman Catholic Church and what their plan is for their believers is total submission to the system. Total submission also to the people, the ruling people, okay? The political system, whether those are kings, whether those are emperors, whether those are whoever, okay, is in charge. We ought to be, committing ourselves and submitting ourselves and obeying the ruling system totally. And people, that has not changed because the system hasn't changed. We hear then in, where is it, in Revelation 13, or was it in Revelation 17, when the beast is better described, that one of the heads was wounded. And okay, tell me if this system, this beast, okay, with the little horn on top, which is papacy, if that was wounded, when do you think it was wounded? When was that political system wounded? That was wounded during the First and Second World War. And during that time, papacy, or before that, papacy groomed another country for the purpose of world dominion. And so tell me who today is the empire of the world. Now, please be honest with yourself. Well, of course, that is not the UN. That is the United States. So now the first beast, which is coming back to life, the wound that it received after the First and Second World War, is healing. So now Europe is back. The European Union is back in full swing. So now people are saying, well, what about the United Nations? Well, the United Nation is only used, okay? Is only used by the beast for their purpose. Now, I also know that from other people that I have listened to, like one of them is Daniele Ganza, which is a historian from Switzerland. He was saying the same thing, that the UN really works for the NATO, or NATO, which is, of course, Europe and the United States. And if anybody else does something that the countries, the UN doesn't like, they get punished. But the US, they always get to do whatever they want. If they want to take over a country, they don't get any sanctions. But wait until Russia does something wrong, and then they get sanctioned. And that's what we see all the time. When did you ever hear that the United States was sanctioned? Never. Never. Why? Because they never do anything wrong, according to the UN. See, the UN is the peacekeeping, supposedly, agency of really the beast system. And the beast system is the first beast out of the sea and the second beast out of the earth. And that is Europe. And they are united through NATO. That's how they have a pact, through NATO. And they have used the UN to really control the world, to push their agenda on everybody else. See, the United States can do what they want. Europe can do what they want. But they have been, picking on all the other countries if they're doing something that the United States doesn't like, or the UN. Okay? It's been that way from the beginning. All they said, we're a peacekeeping union, but in reality, they are not. They're working for the US or NATO. Okay? NATO is the military arm of this connection of the two beasts. Okay? That's what it is. Now remember, we also know that this beast out of the earth is also the false prophet. And so make no mistake, the false prophet is not a false religious ruler. The false prophet is, in this case, a political system, which is the United States. Why false prophet? Well, because they are the prophets. They are false prophets. Okay? The false prophet of a false religion, which is, well, and people are going to scream, the Pope. The Pope is the religion. Satan is on top of that religion. Sorry if I have to say that. Okay? But that's the way it is. We have to understand that. So when we're watching this or listening to this video, we can kind of learn extremely well what the intention of NATO is. What is their goal? Their goal is total dominion of the world, total dominion of the people. They want to pull, tired. They want to have total dominion over this world. And people, that's the way it is. Okay? There's nothing we can do. We can resist some of the things. We can be thankful that we're not living in Germany, for instance, because in Germany, the people are already under so much pressure from the system that people are even getting thrown in jail over what has happened or being resistant during the past 3 years. And that is still happening today. Over something like wearing this right here. Okay? People were thrown in jail. Doctors were thrown in jail. Okay? Because they gave exemptions from this right here. Yes. Can you believe that? But that's how bad Germany is. And this is how much, of course, Germany is under the control of Europe. This first beast out of the sea. And people don't want to see that. People still think, oh my goodness, there's this Antichrist coming at the end. Oh, there's going to be this new world order. No, people, there's not going to be a new world order. It's the old order, but they are modernizing it. Of course, they have new technology now. And so they have new plans. They have a new modernization, how they can continue to get the whole world under their control. This has been worked on, and the system has been there since for 1700 years. It's just Europe kind of got hurt, damaged, because see, the European countries just didn't work together very well before the First and Second World War. They were constantly warring against each other, and it's kind of hard for the Pope, and then they warred against the Pope, and it just was a mess, and the Pope just couldn't control them anymore. And so I think right now with the European nation, I think finally they are back really to being a cohesive or a somewhat cohesive system. And they're controlled by who? They're controlled still by papacy, because most people are still Catholics, probably in all of Europe. If you look at all of Europe, like Italy is mainly Catholic, Spain, I think France is a lot of Catholic, but their lifestyle is just a worldly lifestyle. But really, when it comes down to, they're still, they're still claiming to be Catholics. So France is kind of a strange place. And I think Germany is at least half Protestant and half Catholic, and that's why Germany was always Pope didn't like it because that's where the Reformation started. So it's always been very hard, and you need to understand historical backgrounds to understand that this beast system is already here. Satan didn't go on vacation. We know that Satan was thrown out of heaven in Revelation 12. And you know what? You can't argue with that. Okay? He was thrown out of heaven, and that was right after Jesus went up into heaven. There is a false interpretation of Revelation 12, and there's some people that say, this child, this son that was, born is the church. No, people, it's not the church. It's Jesus. Only Jesus rules with an iron rod, not the church. Okay? Not the church. The church is not a he, she is a she. It's always been that way. And so when people come and you don't know the correct information about the Bible because you have not studied the Bible enough, they can mislead you. But you always have to ask questions and say, well, where does it say that the church is ruling with an iron rod? No place. Okay? No place. What does it say that the church is a he? No place. The church is always a she. A she. Okay? I don't know, but that's when Satan was kicked out of heaven. You can look at that. I have done videos about it. Maybe I should do another one because I keep talking about it. And I would like to, again, go back to Revelation 12 and read this again because it is 12 and 13 is a historical progression. It's not, it's really, progression. Okay, it's a historical timeline of what happened after, Jesus was born, he was resurrected, he went up into heaven, Satan was there, he wanted to, destroy Satan, he wanted to destroy Jesus, and then he was kicked out because there's a war in heaven. Why? Because Jesus defeated him on the cross. Period. There's no going around it. Jesus defeated Satan on the cross. Period. And then there was no more room found for Satan in heaven. So he was kicked out, and that's when he founded his kingdom here on earth, which is the beast system. He took the last beast, which was Rome, converted it into his personal empire with the horn, the 10 horns, okay? And 7 heads or 8 heads, 7 heads, okay? That is because the dragon looked like that. So he converted this last beast into the image of the dragon, okay? And I have done, like I said, a video about it if you want to go back. It's been a while ago. So, anyways, going back to this video about the UN, we can see the UN being, all it is an institution for this beast system. So again, who is sitting on the beast? It's the little horn. It's Babylon the Great. And Babylon the Great is described in Revelation 17, and it cannot be anybody else except papacy. There is nobody in this world that is described or looks like Babylon the Great. So she's dressed in purple and scarlet, has pearls all over, okay? Is killing the saints, is drunk by the blood of the saints. It can only be the Vatican. Nobody, okay, in history went out to kill the saints, except the beast who did what the Vatican told them to do. See, the Vatican used the beast out of the sea, the political system in Europe, to kill the saints. That's why they also have the blood of the saints on their hands. But they did that because Rome told them they have to do that. Because Rome needed to use the army of the beast, of the political system. So Europe was the beast, or is the beast still, because it had a head wound and it healed, and it's now healed. Europe right now is better than ever before. Okay, they're more united than ever before. Before they warred all the time. Now they're united. And so now the Pope, of course, is still using it, people. Make no mistake, the Pope is still using Europe. Now, he's not coming out and saying, oh, I'm using, I'm controlling Europe. Now, I always talk about the pyramid of power. And the pyramid of power, the all-seeing eye is on top. If you look at the dollar bill, and you see the pyramid, and on top is where was I when I was so rudely interrupted? But anyways, let's go kind of back to this interview that I recommended here with this Romanian guy, and einer fühl mich. And it's interesting, that not everybody, but many people know there is something going on behind all these organizations. In other words, that they are controlled by a elite. Use that word. I think Rainer Fühlmich used a different word. But there is somebody behind them. So in other words, the people you're seeing are not really the people that control it. And of course, people, that most of these people don't know who is really behind it. And I have talked about, of course, this pyramid of power all the time. And if you really know the Bible, you know who is behind it. And I'm not giving you this information because they know who it is. But I wanted you to see this video to see what their goal is. And the goal of the UN is not any different than, of course, Satan's goal. You can see Satan's goals when you watch what their plan is. They don't want peace. They say, oh, we're a peacekeeping organization. And in reality, they are not. In reality, what they want is, for them, peace means when I control everything. Okay? When this person on top of the pyramid is controlling everything, that's what their peace is. And I have seen that very, very clearly lately with not the UN, but the European Union. They have the same idea. Oh, we want peace, but peace for them means we are going to be the controllers. We want peace in Ukraine means to them, but you are going to have to submit to our conditions. So in other words, saying to Russia, you commit to our conditions. So that's their kind of peace. And that's what the UN is also doing. Their understanding of peace is, I am going to control the world and the people are going to go lockstep into what we want. In other words, what the elite wants. And the elite is, again, working, of course, for this even shadow ruler behind it, which is really then ending up, of course, with Satan. And so think about it. Our world is in the hands of Satan today. And if we forget that in any time, on any minute, then we are going along with the system. Remember that Revelation 18 says, come out of her, my people. Okay, come out of her, my people. And who is he talking about? He's talking about Babylon the Great. And Babylon the Great is right underneath Satan and is a representative of Satan. So there is nothing we can do. Voting doesn't exist anymore, people. Voting doesn't exist. We cannot vote. This guy actually said, oh, and they didn't expect Trump to be different. No, Trump was also a player of this system. Trump just acted like he was different. Okay? Why? Because that way they could make it still look like we have some kind. Excuse me. I'm so tired. It's already dark and it's been so cold today, and I'm just really, I think this cold weather makes me so tired. I want to just crawl in a warm space and hibernate. But anyways, so we can have, there's no way, people, that through a democratic process that we can actually vote some person in that's still caring about the people. That's over. Okay? We have given up that right. The Protestants have given up the right when they made deals with papacy. Okay? So since that time, we have had the door open for a Catholic president to take over things. And of course, what is his idea? Well, we're going to have to bow down to our government and obey the government no matter what. Because that's what we've been confronted with for the past 3 years. Yes, the United States still has things in place that make it actually look like that the people or our Constitution is still in place. But all what's happening is that they are coming up with new things. Yeah, people are fighting back against tyranny here in this country and are saying, no, you're not going to force us. Okay, that is different than in Europe. Europe, like Germany, they have already lost. They have lost the battle. Their system, they're in really, no matter who is in charge, they're in a totalitarian system again. That's just the way it is. Now, we in the States, we still have at least some justice going on. Well, some. Even though politically we have lost. We have already lost. And Trump was not anybody different. Okay? Well, yeah, Trump in itself was different. He is probably characterized, even though he is not that much better, at least somewhat better than our corrupt Biden. Biden is that whole family is extremely corrupt, not because they're Democrats. I'm not saying that the Democrats are worse than the Republicans. No, it's definitely not the case. Because all our presidents, I would think since at least, if not further back than Kennedy, probably further back than Kennedy, maybe say Woodrow Wilson or something, they have all worked for these people behind our official politicians. And then you go back and go further, who are these people again working for? And you can probably end up again with the Jesuits and with the Vatican, and of course you can end up with Satan. It doesn't matter whether this organization, is the Jesuits or is the Masons. They're all going back to the same. That is the all-seeing eye. Who came up with this pyramid of power, or this pyramid with the all-seeing eye on top that says, in God we trust? Who came up with that? The Masons. So the Masons are not any different. And maybe I shouldn't even say anything, about that. But hey, people, listen to this video. It's in English, even though it says some stuff in German. but the English, the interview is in English. So listen to it so you have some kind of idea what the goal is of this. No, it's not a new world order, people. No, it's not even a new world system. Well, it's a modernized system. Yes, it's a modernized system. It's the old system that was modernized. That's all it is. Anyways, let the Holy Spirit guide you always.